Yeah, we're ready.
Coach, I feel like these early Big Ten games are never, it never like it's new. It always feels weird to have these early Big Ten games. But
Yeah.
you had a chance to look at Purdue when they roll in to play in their AC Big Ten Challenge,
Yeah.
Florida State, and what do you see from them?
Yeah, no, I've looked at them a lot. We watched all their games, and yeah, they're playing well. They're really clicking, and you got a player like Edie, who's as productive as anybody, if not more, in the country. You've got Mason Gillis, who's a veteran player. You've got Ethan Morton, who's a veteran player, and then you have the freshmen that are playing really well right now. And I mean, they're about nine deep for sure. They have gone 10 with Waddell, but they're just really clicking. And I think when you watch them, they have an identity in terms of they know who their guy is, and they all kind of play off that, and they've really settled in their roles early. So no, it'll be definitely a challenge.
You've got Trayton in the starting five and Burrell getting more minutes. Is there a chance that those guys will flip in the starting five, especially with Edie
Depends. The hard part about Edie, if you really watch, like, it's like last year, but worse because he's playing more. He just fouls guys out. I watched the Duke game, and Lively, who's really good, had his first foul within like the first minute. And the thing that's hard is because they go right back to him, you could potentially get foul number two like 30 seconds later. And so you're trying to find that balance. Just like last year, like that was the reason I didn't start Eric, because we just didn't have depth at that spot. So if you start Eric and he gets foul number one in that first possession, well, they're going right back at him. So if he gets two fouls in the first 2 minutes, you're screwed. So just trying to figure out what our best approach is. He's so tall. You look at teams that double, you're just hoping that the pass out misses, because he holds the ball so high, you're not distracting the pass, right? And he's seen it, so you're really just hoping sometimes that guys miss, or you're able to rotate and make them have to bounce it. So it's a game of two versus a game of three. So we're gonna have to figure that out. We got a couple things that we've been looking at on film, and today we'll be able to walk through, but it's definitely going to take a group effort. Like it's not just one guy, from a simple fact of, you know, he goes through bodies and there's just nothing you could do. So it's a unique cover for sure.
does the early Big Ten games, does it help from the standpoint that it kind of tells you where you're at, and then you get a few weeks and you identify where you're at because you get tested so much?
For sure, it definitely does that. I think that's why you love those high major games early too. But it does, and it gives guys a sense of, okay, you've seen it for two games. This is what we're going to see for like 2 months. Especially when a team that's you got new pieces like Jameson and Trayton. We're the only guys that experience Big Ten, and so you're getting a look and a preview for everybody of like, okay, this is what we're going through January, February, and March. And I think all that's good, and it does. I think you always want to measure kind of where you're at, and it can be fool's gold. Sometimes guys will play like an easy schedule, and you might have a great record, but it's kind of fool's gold because you haven't been tested. Where, I think we've kind of have a schedule where it's put us in some spots where we've been able to learn and grow through winning and losing. But this will be a game where it's, a Big Ten opponent on the road, top five in the country. Let's go and measure ourselves against somebody of that caliber and see where we're at. Let's see where we're at individually, and let's see where we're at as a team. And, that's the type of challenge I want our guys to embrace, not fear, but be ready, be prepped, and go out there and see what we can do.
He played Purdue last year, and you talked about Edie having a different role. The guards actually controlled that game. Obviously, Trayton and those guys are gone. There's a different group of guards. You talked about the freshmen. I mean, you have some freshmen too, some guards. What do you see from that group that's completely different
Mm-hmm.
Edie?
It's really impressive. I actually met with our freshmen today, and we just talked about, as you watch games and you watch other freshmen, I want you to kind of analyze what they do good and what they do bad, right? And I want those guys to continually do like a self-analysis of how they're growing. They're fortunate, and I showed them the numbers of like for four freshmen to play, at a minimum of basically 15 minutes a game is like unheard of, right? And I kind of showed them the numbers of that, went by team, and just said, use this as an opportunity. Don't take it lightly. Take advantage of every single day, the opportunity you have to learn and grow through playing, because it's rare. And then we talked about the Purdue players and how I feel like they've taken full advantage. You look at their numbers and just efficiency. They're productive because they're fundamentally sound, right? They make the right play because it's the right play. Now, granted, I get they have an All-American that they're playing with, which takes a lot of pressure off, but they keep it simple, and I think for young guys, that's the whole goal early, is just like keep it simple, stay in your lane. Kind of talked about, the good things that our guys do and play to those strengths, and let's develop those strengths. But every day, take advantage, because I think you do. You see it on film. You look at Smith. He's gotten better from game one to where he is now, and that's why he's confident. You watch him on film, and at first you don't really feel like he's a freshman just because of how he carries himself. Lawyer, the same thing. He's got a way about him that's a mature game. So, hopefully our guys will be able to be at that same stage and continue to grow and develop and take these minutes as an opportunity. I think they're figuring out kind of who they are, which is key. I think coming into the year, they all think they know, who they are in terms of their game. And I think the game of basketball kind of teaches you. It lets you know, no, this is kind of who you are, right? You might think you're this, but like you're not, in order to be successful. And so I think they're coming into their own and understanding, okay, this is where I'm at right now. Let me play to this strength, right? We talked to Pharrell about you're given some God-given gifts with just your size. And, I think he's shooting like 72% from the field or something like that. And so it's like, okay, when you get the ball inside, you're productive, you produce, you score it. So then now your next phase is, all right, how do I get open? It's angles. It's, can I read my defender? Am I working them up the floor? Or am I ducking them in? When you watch other teams and other posts, like that's what you should be watching. Okay, how do they get open? How do they, post positioning is so key, demanding the ball. And I could go down the line, it's like Jaden, you got some God-given ability. You can break people off the bounce. You can get to the rim. Now play off 2 feet, right? No careless turnovers. Be strong with the ball. You got a good mid-range. Braden, you can really shoot. Hands and feet ready all the time. Doesn't mean you shoot it, but like that shot prep detail every single time. And then with Josh, he's like Murph a little bit. He's got a unique way to score around the rim and play to your strengths. Drive the ball, live in the paint, be confident with your post-ups because you have a knack for making baskets, and I think when they finally become kind of comfortable in that, and now you're trying to give them confidence in that, like this is who you are, and it's good, it's really good. Let's build on that. I think that's what we're just trying to like hammer home to them right now.
Is that, when you play Big Ten teams versus non-conference schedule, obviously the difference isn't just who you're playing, but Paul prepared for you once. They didn't look back to last year. Big Ten, they've got all this film. They've been studying you forever. Does the game change drastically just because of the scouting report?
Right.
Because of the nature of how well you know each other, even if the team is talented, somebody playing a non-conference?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. In some ways, yeah. Like we went back and watched, our game versus Purdue last year, even though it's different. I think they kind of have a structure, especially offensively, of what they like to do. And so you're able to kind of game plan that way. Like, okay, I remember, God, when Nate Mason was here, I don't remember how many years ago that was. They kind of run the same baseline runner stuff, and they beat us on a counter to it. So I told my staff up there, I said, we're going to guard this action, and I guarantee late game we got to remember because it hurt us, and they got Nate Mason on this play, and boom. So there is some of that where in preparation you're kind of looking back, and you can look back because you got more information about, okay, stylistically, this is what they like to do. Or last year, hey, remember, it could have been one play out of a timeout that they did, whether it was a team that post doubled or trap the ball screen. You have that information, and I think in League Two, coaches' tendencies, right? So this coach likes to do this, or he likes to do that, or he doesn't do this. Any type of advantage you can get with that scouting just based on history, I think you try to use. But it is kind of the game within the game, because a lot of guys, they're really good, so they're going to stick to what they do for the most part. So you're just hoping that can help you. A possession here, a possession there with Purdue, you're praying anything can help you. So.
With Dawson, obviously, unfortunately, had that who he was going through, and then JMO came back in California, and he only had a couple practices. Do you feel like, hopefully now, the timing is now, obviously playing Purdue, that those two guys, JMO's had practices, Dawson is healthy, you can finally see maybe close to what they can do together?
Yeah, I hope so. That's the hardest part, is we just haven't had that court time. We need to practice. We need to get better at everything, and those guys need to get their timing. And I think the hard part, for JMO or anybody that gets hurt, I remember for me, it's like when you're playing at a high level and you do have that injury and you're off time, in your mind, day one, you should be right back to where you were before you got hurt. Right. And that's just not how it works. And you got to get games under your belt, and you got to get your timing. And then your teammates who haven't been playing with you for 2 or 3 weeks, they got to get their timing with you. And like, where do you like the ball, and where are we going to run to get you shots? And it's kind of all goes hand in hand. So again, we need practice and getting in court time. The more, the better for this group for sure. Dawson, unfortunately, he's getting better. He's got the flu, and he had it, and he's been out the last couple of days. He's going to go today and see what he can do. But you want all the pieces there now so we can all work to gel and grow. And the other thing too is you want to give guys confidence. And how do you get confidence? Well, it's not always by just getting thrown to the fire in a game. It's seeing it in practice. It's drilling it in practice. It's building the reps in practice so that in the game you're confident because you've done it over and over. So for me, that's the hard part. It's like when you don't have guys practicing, it's hard to build that confidence.
And did he not practice as soon as he had a day off?
So we came back. We were off, and then we went, what day is it? We went Wednesday, and then we were off yesterday. He did not go Wednesday. Guys were off yesterday. Talked to him each day. He's feeling better. It's just, like I said, it's the flu. And so now, see what he can do today. But, you got to get your legs under you and your strength and all that good stuff. But more than anything, I just feel bad because it's the timing piece, and you want practice, you want court time, you want reps.
Did you worry about COVID much anymore? When you said that, I think if a guy calls you and says, hey, I'm not feeling so well, does your brain go right to COVID? How does that work for
Right.
the coaching program?
You know what? Mine doesn't. And it says maybe it sounds weird. I guess for me, either you have COVID or you don't. There's nothing I can do, So it doesn't. I think after maybe a couple of days, maybe you think about it, but right away, I just know it is flu season. Like we all got flu shots and all this, and it's just I know. Talking to other people, just friends, like it's around now. So I'm more worried about that, honestly, because it's like you're traveling and you know how it is, the flu spreads in this winter and guys aren't wearing jackets or hats or just not sleeping right. So I just more worry about this time of year, always beginning of winter when it really hits. It's like, all right, are we going to get hit with the flu bug? And it just runs through the team. So.
Is there any threat in the first half lulls that you guys had?
Yeah, we talked about that. And I feel like for whatever reason, when you go back and watch, it's not our starts. I think we've either started well or even if we started down, like, if we started down but we climbed back in it, it's like that stretch after, the first 10 minutes, right? Virginia Tech, it was 22-22 with like 6:23 left. It's that stretch towards the end of the first half where it's that one defensive assignment or it's a bad offensive possession or it's a rush shot or it's something like that, and then it just gets compounded, and we can't recover. And so, I've really looked at, do I need to do different things subbing wise up to that point? Is it a fatigue thing? Do I need to look at just offensively? Do we need to be tighter with what we're running? I do think we need to clean some stuff up offensively with just what we're doing. So I've looked at that with myself of like, what can I run better to get guys just in better position? But I do think you're right. It's to that point, there's something there. And we addressed it as a team. So like that's something in timeouts we're going to be aware of. Like, okay, we hit the 10-minute mark. All right, fellas, this is not going to be a repeat. Like we've got to lock in now. We've addressed it. We know it. You guys know it. We got to fight through it. Because I think if we do that and you go into halftime and you're not down, there's a difference between you're down 12 on the road versus you're down 6 or 8. It's a whole different ballgame, and it makes it manageable. And we talked about after Virginia Tech, like we fought back in it, but you're fighting so hard to make it manageable, it's hard to win against any good team. So like we need to do that early so that like you're trying to win it the last 6 or 4 minutes. That's the manageable part.
To follow up on his earlier point about watching other teams and whatnot, do you find yourself having to counter coach, counter plan for what maybe other teams have seen film of the Gophers? Do you ever have to worry about, okay, they know they really beat us on this,
Yeah.
and they're watching it on film? Do you ever find yourself
Oh, for sure.
counter plan?
Yeah. Oh, you're always. Yeah. I mean, you guys seen it. We haven't done the best job with the ball. So, Purdue post doubles. So now, you got to, in the back of your mind, worry about, all right, we haven't handled it well. And we've had some careless ones, and that's just something they do. You got to think that they're gonna bring the heat post double. But yeah, you're always thinking about that. Like if there's something that in the year we haven't handled the right way, especially stylistically, if there's a team you're playing that does that, I'm sure UNLV watched DePaul and said, okay, this is what we do, but we need to crank it up another notch because they didn't handle pressure well versus DePaul. Mississippi State, when we play them, I guarantee is going to watch DePaul, UNLV, because the styles are the same, and we know we're going to have to face that again. So 100%, and that's all part of scouting. It's that self-analysis. All right, when we're watching our games, we need to take notes of like what haven't we had success doing, but then also what are we good at, right? And you got to know they're going to try to take that away. And I think that's us being now creative with Jamison and where we play him offensively. I thought Virginia Tech did a great job of basically putting one guy on him and saying, all right, you're going to limit catches, touches, all of that. We obviously know that going into the game, but now it's like, how can we counter? Teams are going to put their best defender on him and try to take him out the game and eliminate him. And now you're saying, all right, other guys are going to have to beat you. So that's that. The game within the game, for sure. All right, thank you.